whether they're here to start trading, whether they're here for network marketing. My name is Noah. I've been in this industry for about a year and 11 months now, and it's completely transformed my life in a number of ways. Most of you guys know who I am, so I'm not going to bore you with my story. But what I'm actually going to do tonight is just rip it straight off the top and give you guys a little bit of sauce, hopefully, especially those of you that just got started, on what you can expect to go through when you first get started if you do this at a high level and why it's a good thing. And so most of you guys, when you first get started, you may just get started to learn how to trade. That's completely fine. For me, I didn't know anything about the trading space. That's why I got started. But I also had sales experience. And so I noticed very quickly that I could earn more income on the sales side, getting people involved in the community than I could trading right away because it was a skill, and the previous company I was in didn't have tap to trade. So it was something for me where I didn't know anything and I knew that would take me time. And so what I'm going to do is focus more on the network marketing component, at least for the first 30 minutes of this call, and give you guys a little bit of an idea on what you can expect if you're someone that wants to do this the way that I did it. And so very, very briefly, I'll break down kind of how I got introduced into this space. I got on an overview call by myself, didn't know anybody on it. In March of 2023, I got started. And after that, man, a few weeks in, I hadn't done much. I was working a lot of hours at a car dealership, and I got a voice message about an event on the opposite side of the country. I'm here based in Arizona. And I just said, you know what? I don't like where I'm at. Worst case scenario, I come back to this. Might as well go try it. So I showed up at the event, sat in the back of the room, didn't know anything about network marketing, hadn't recruited a single person yet, didn't know how to lead a group of people. I had sales skills, but I was just at a point in my life where I wanted something new. So I got started. I gave it a shot. I came back from that event with more connections than I thought I was going to have, and it changed my life. And so the very first thing I did was start reaching out to people like crazy and sharing why I was so excited. And most of the time, when you first get started in this space, if you're like me and you actually plug in and you get on a couple of the calls, whether they're mentorship calls like this, whether they're an overview call where you get to hear someone like myself or the person you're going to get to hear from here in a little bit, Josh Amundson, break down what we do, you start getting a little bit of the energy and you start getting a little bit of the flow in terms of what people do here, and you start falling in love with the process, at least for me. And so I wanted to do this at a high level. I wanted to do it faster than other people. I wanted to get to full-time income as quick as I could. I had just quit a six-figure sales job. I had over $4,500 a month in bills, and I had to figure it out, and I was making zero money. And so one of the things that I knew when I first got started was I didn't have much of a personal brand, and I didn't have much of a network. I knew some people, but I didn't know a ton of people. I wasn't in college anymore. And even when I was in college, I wasn't in a fraternity. I didn't really mix and mingle a whole lot. But when I got into this space, I knew I needed to get in front of as many people as I could. And I started running into things. And so what I want to do with my time on this call with you guys in the next 20 minutes or so, we're going to keep this at about an hour in total length. So the second half is going to be covered by my guy, Josh. But what I want to do is give you guys an idea on what you can expect to come across, because I feel like a lot of times you get hit by a truck when you first get started, if you're anything like me, because you get started and you're excited. So the very first thing you do is you tell everybody about what you're doing and why you're so excited about it. But the first mistake you make is you over explain yourself and you get caught in a trick bag where you're explaining too much about what you do rather than leveraging people that have results and that can help you share what we do effectively. And so one of the first things I want you guys to do, especially if you're taking notes, is just write down a few keys. I'm going to keep this very short and simple, and then I'm going to keep it moving. But when you're inviting people, number one, energy is everything, literally everything. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. And I will say this on every single call because it's the truth. And it changed everything about the way my dynamic in terms of success in this industry changed, because most people don't have anywhere close to the amount of energy that I have, even to this day. I'm sitting up in my seat. My back isn't even seat. I can't even speak, right? It's not even touching the back of my seat. And that's the way I am every single day, man, because I love what we do. And I fell in love with this process. But my point when you guys reaching out to people is it doesn't even matter if you're stumbling over your words or you're the most effective communicator or you can give the most solid script ever. That's not what it's about. It's about excitement, because when you're first reaching out to people, these are people that you know. They already know you for who you are. So it doesn't matter as much if you have a solid personal brand or you have a bunch of lifestyle content or you've made a bunch of money. They just know you for who you are. So if out of nowhere your energy's here and it goes to here and you're hitting them with a voice message or a video, especially because you can hear more energy and tone in those things, and you're just saying something simple like, hey, bro, I just got started with something new. You got to see this. Send me a message when you get this. That's what the type of invites I was sending were. But most people, when you get started, you send an invite, but it's more so, hey, bro, I got started with this thing and it's trading. And then if you get somebody and they get somebody and they get somebody, now we're building this team. And then when 3 get started, you're free and you get this prop firm thing where you can start trading. They're going to give you $10,000. And people are like, whoa, 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 what are you talking about, bro? You sound crazy. And that's where you start getting questions that you don't know how to overcome. Rather than doing that, keep it simple. It's not your job to explain the presentation before they see it. Most people are visual learners and observers. I just got done having a few different calls with leaders inside of my organization talking about this, because most of the time when you're trying to get people to do something, whether it's hop on an overview call, or if you have people on your team right now, you're trying to get them to build faster and build more. What you don't understand is they're following your feet, not your mouth. They're observing you. If we played basketball for the first time and you guys have never shot before, one of the things that I can promise you is you will get way more value out of watching me shoot 10 shots, even if I don't open my mouth, than you will if I sit there and I try to tell you to keep your elbow in, and I tell you to flick your wrist, and I tell you to follow through, and all these different things. It's the same thing here. And my point is, when you're inviting someone, if you try to tell them what we're doing rather than show them, they're going to be overwhelmed. They're not going to understand it. They're not going to get the information the right way. And you're going to have to learn how to overcome a lot more questions that you don't necessarily need to face. So keep it simple. Raise your energy level. I encourage you guys to get the typewriter out of the mix, man. Stop texting. Get a voice message. Get a video in there, especially if you're just getting started. The people that you're going to reach out to first are the people that you know. This is your best chance, man. If you don't have a solid personal brand and you don't know a lot of people, what do you think is going to happen when you start cold market messaging people you don't know? And you don't have any lifestyle and you haven't made much money, they're going to look at you like you're stupid. They're not going to give you the time of day, most of them. So you're going to have to go through a lot more numbers. Take advantage of when you first get started, the people that are in your network, knowing who they are. I see someone inside of the chats asking, how do you go over the pyramid scheme thing? I'm going to be talking a lot on the trials and tribulations you guys are going through when you first get started as a follow-up to this invite. The reason I'm breaking this down is because I want you to know how to invite people first, because you'll probably avoid some of that right there if you do it the right way. You'll get them on an overview call without explaining what you do, so they won't know what they're looking at. And then when they get on the call, they're going to see it the right way. Now, they still may say it's a pyramid scheme. And I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a background on what this industry is all about, so that way you know how to approach those types of objections, okay? So number one, when you're inviting people, keep it simple. You guys have all heard the KISS principle. Keep it simple, stupid. I think that's what it is, right? So energy is contagious. Do not over-explain yourself. Your goal is not to explain the presentation. It's to create FOMO. We've all had it. Fear of missing out, right? Say as little as possible. Give them a call to action at the end of your invite, right? Let me know when you get this. Bro, get back to me as soon as possible. These are things that are commands. People follow them. They'll get back to you and they'll ask you, what is it? Tell me more. What's it about? Here's one way, iPhone, for those of you in this call that are wondering how do you get avoid the pyramid thing. Don't tell them what it's about. Let me tell them, because I'm probably going to tell them more effectively so that they understand what we're doing, and you might be able to avoid some of that. But you just have to know one key, and it's this. When you get what is it, tell me more, what's it called, just say this every single time. If I could have explained it to you in my first invite or my first message, I would have, man. I want you to get to see this the right way. That's it. If the people inside of your life respect you even a little bit, they'll give you 20 minutes of their time. And if they send you another message and they're like, bro, just tell me, literally hit them with this one, man. What's with the interrogation, bro? If you came to me excited about something, I'd check it out. It's 20 minutes of your time. And if they're still giving it to you, just let them know. Don't even tell them. Don't tell them. Do not spill the beans. If they're still on your butt about it, just tell them, look, bro, if you don't have 20 minutes to check it out, you're not going to have 20 minutes to do it anyway. So it doesn't matter. But hold your ground. Posture in a conversation is everything. When you're creating relationships in business, when you're creating relationships, I don't freaking know, intimately or sexually, right? Whoever has more posture in the conversation wins. Same thing here. Whether it's through social media, through a text message, regardless, you have to have posture. So send voice messages and videos, because most people won't do the same thing. You automatically assume that role, right? Now that we've covered the simple invite in less than 5 freaking minutes, here's what I'm going to tell you. That's not going to stop all of the controversy, all of the backlash, all of the misunderstanding, the criticism, the judgment that you're going to get when you do this. Here's something that you need to understand. And if you can shift your perspective on the way this is set up in your life, it'll change everything. Controversy is how you build influence. I've said this since I got started. If I said the name Jake Paul, the majority of you guys have an opinion. Some of you hate him. Some of you love him. He doesn't care. He's worth over $50 million at 28 years old, and he doesn't know who you are. But here's my point. You've been told your whole life to pay attention. You need more attention. You don't have any. So if you don't have a personal brand, what I started doing when I got started is I used all of the objections and the misunderstanding and the pyramid scheme this and get rich quick scheme that. And you're thinking too big, bro. And all of the things I was hearing from people when I invited them to check this out, even if I did it the right way and they got on a call, they still sometimes came at me with that stuff. You got to trick yourself into understanding the more BS you deal with, the more controversy you have to deal with, the more misunderstanding, judgment, people laughing at you, the more friends that aren't commenting on your pictures anymore or inviting you out, the more you get of that, the better. The sooner you can become delusional to that fact and start to shift your perspective and say, the more of that I get, the better I'm doing, the more you'll win. And I got to full-time income quicker than most inside of this industry, not because I'm special, but because I understood this and I ran with it. Most people hide when you start getting insulted, or all of a sudden your best friends that you grew up with that don't have what you want, you start taking their opinions and advice, you curdle up in a ball, you quit, you throw in the towel, you go back to doing what you're doing, you give up on your dream. Most of you guys love what we do. You're on this call not because you have to, but because you want to be. Same thing for me. But you need to understand that you are different. Every single one of us, all 70 that are on this call, we're different, man. We are not like everybody else. We think bigger, we want more out of life, and we're a little bit loose screw. We think we can go out there and build organizations of thousands of people, make hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we want to help as many as we can. Here's the thing, you can, but most people aren't willing to go through that muck. Most people in their first 3 months quit. That's why the success rate in network marketing is so low, because it's a very low barrier to entry. And so the same undisciplined, inconsistent people come into this expecting for a get rich quick scheme and then they quit. So here's my point, man. When you guys are first getting started, there's a lot of you on this call that are probably under the age of 25. You've never started a business before. You've never led a group of people. You've never dealt with any controversy because you've done the same thing everybody else has done. Here's an analogy, man. When you're 18 years old, everybody goes to freaking grade school and most of us go to high school. And then it's like we're all getting dropped out of a bubble in the sky. And when we hit the ground, now we have free game to run wherever we want. And so there's all these different paths, right? And most of these paths are big, they're wide. It's like, okay, go to school for business. Most people go that way. Most people go to the school for trade. Okay, a lot of people go that way, right? And there's all of these big time roads, and you can see the sunset in most of them, meaning you know what it's going to yield you. Work 40 years, maybe you'll have a solid retirement, live an average or a little bit above average life, depending on what you do. Some people go to the doctors, some people go to engineering, whatever. You get my point. Everybody's sitting in this circle trying to figure out which avenue they're going to explore. Now, no matter what avenue you explore, most of the time there's going to be little dirt roads on every single one of them. It's going to be gravel. You're not going to be able to see much right or left. It's a little foggy. But if you're like us, and this is where we all come together, you're loose screw enough to say, you know what? I don't know if I want to go this way. I wonder what that yields me. I can't see through the fog right now, but I just have a feeling. That's the feeling that all of you have right now, where you know this could give you a result that the promised land you see with the sunset can't give you. So you're willing to go through a little bit of uncertainty. Now, here's the thing. When you first start on that little side quest, all the people running with you down the main road, your best friends, your family members, your cousins, your mom and dad, your girlfriend, they're going to start barking in your ear because they're going to say, hey, man, why are you going that way? What are you doing, bro? You can't even see 10 steps in front of you. Why would you go that direction? You stupid? And you're going to have to close your ears. Here's the number one piece of advice I've ever been given. And if you're brand new to this space, do not let this one go because it saved my life. Consider the source, man. If the person you're listening to doesn't have what you want, do not listen. So when you're inviting your best friend and they tell you it's a pyramid scheme and they can't even define what a pyramid scheme is, and they don't have $3,000 in their bank account and they've never owned a business, they've never tried anything other than a normal job or school, why the hell are you going to take their opinions? It doesn't make any damn sense. And so if you're brand new here, whether it's your mom or dad or your best friend, you need to take that and run with it. When I first got started, I quit my job. I was making more money than probably most people on this call have ever made, $180,000 a year at 26 years old. I quit that because I didn't like my life. I went to that event. I came back home. My mom saw in my story that I posted a story of me in Universal Studios outside of the event. She's like, why the hell are you in Florida? Didn't tell my mom and dad I quit my job because I know they would have told me I was crazy. Now, here's the thing. My mom and dad don't drive a Lamborghini. They don't have multiple properties. They both are overcoming debt. Neither of them have ever made over 6 figures in their life. Here's what I know. Because I consider the source, even if I love them to death and I know they care about me, parents' role is to protect us, right? Keep us safe. They can't teach me how to do something they've never done. So I remember when I got done with that event and I told my mom I quit my job and I was doing this thing. She was like, well, that sounds like a pyramid scheme, son. I was like, Mom, what's a pyramid scheme? She couldn't even define it. And I sent her this, and I have this pulled up on my computer because I encourage all of you guys to go look at this. This video right here, one of the things that saved me early on in the journey. This little compilation right here, why network marketing. And if you don't know some of these names on this thumbnail, you're like my mom. But I knew them, and I was following them on TikTok and social media, hearing all these people talk about personal development and business and success and people that have made billions of dollars and ride around on private jets and have multiple properties and the life I want. And so I sent my mom this YouTube video and I said, Mom, this is what I'm getting ready to do. I was so excited. And she said, who are those people? Why do I care who those people are? I said, you know more about the people on the TV screen behind you on America's Got Talent than you know billionaires that could help you elevate your lifestyle. And you're wondering why you sit at the dinner table complaining about the people you work for every day, not getting paid what you're worth, working 5 days to enjoy 2, just so that when you're 65, you got 15 years of your life if you're lucky. They didn't like that. And I, for the first time in my life, stood my ground and I told my dad, with all due respect, my job is not to stay where you are in terms of success. It's to take my family name to the next level. But you did it. You did more than grandpa. I got to do more than you. And you can't teach me how to do that. I had to find somebody that can. And I did. For me, that was Joey Wilson, somebody that made $100,000 a month for several years. Someone that has a beautiful wife and kids, someone that does take care of themselves. It's not all about money, but it's the pillars of life. It's the foundation. It's the freedom that I wanted. And he had it. So it didn't matter what the fuck anybody told me when I invited them, when they saw what I was doing, when I was posting on social media. If you weren't at his level or better, your opinion didn't matter to me. And what's funny is, for those of you guys getting a lot of backlash, you're inviting your people to these calls and you're excited. You caught the vision. You love this. You want to do this. If you could choose to make full-time income, travel the world, help a lot of people and do this forever, you would do it. But you have a limiting belief because of the people you're listening to. That's where you need to sit back and consider the source. That's where you need to find someone, whether it's myself, Josh, Jay, AJ, Bobby Mills, Cade, Carson, Landon, Maddie, anybody that's accomplished a little bit even, man. If you're talking to people that don't have what you want, and these guys do, tune out the noise, man. These are your new friends. And that's how simple it is to avoid a lot of that, man. But here's the thing that you got to backtrack to. It doesn't mean it's going to stop. And what I want you guys to run with, if you're someone like me that wants to do this at a high level and you want to go fast, understand the more BS you deal with, the more controversy, the more getting laughed at, the more, loneliness you feel at certain points in time, the better you're doing. So what I encourage you guys to do is when you're getting people telling you pyramid scheme and you're getting people telling you you're thinking too big and you're stupid, bro, those things don't work. 95% of people don't make money doing those things. Instead of trying to combat every single one of those people, just think to yourself in your head, I wish I could make it known to you that you don't have what I want and you can't teach me how to get it, but I'm not even going to waste my time. I always just told people, you do you, I'll do me, and we'll watch the time go by. My, oh my, how has the time changed? No boss, no job, travel the world. I can wake up and do whatever I want, whenever I want, with whoever I want, wearing a freaking long sleeve dry fit shirt and shorts. I'm sitting here with freaking slippers on, man, in my crib right now. This is work. It can be work for you guys too. But the crazy part is, when I first got started, all I had was negativity coming my direction. And I think it's one of the hardest parts when you get involved in network marketing to overcome. And that's why I wanted to take a little bit of time to address this for you guys on the call tonight, because I know what it was like when you first got started. Josh and Jay know what it was like when they first got started. You notice all of a sudden you're like, wait a second, I'm a lot different than I thought I was from people that I thought I was very similar to. My best friends who I grew up with my whole life, we talked about starting businesses, escaping the 9-to-5, the matrix, the rat race. I thought they'd want to do this for sure. And they wanted nothing to do with it. I don't understand. And so a lot of times you get tripped up and all of a sudden thinking that you're wrong or that for whatever reason you can't do this because the people in your life that you're most closest to can't do this, or they don't want to do this, or they don't support this. Look, man, you got one life on this planet. Don't live it through the lens of a friend that doesn't have what you want. That's something that I got caught up doing. I moved out of my apartment from 2 of my best friends that I grew up with my entire life when I first got started, because all they were doing was hating on me while they did the same stuff on repeat, and they're hating on me for going and trying something. Here's the crazy part. Now they came back into my life. They're much more intrigued in what it is that I do now, but it took me getting results for me to prove to them that it's possible. And that's why you guys need to leverage people like myself, Josh, Jay, Joey, Maddie, Ali, whoever the heck it is that you're working with. And instead of you try to do it all on your own, use the success stories and use the people that you're connected to as a reference point and start instead of trying to talk yourself through all of these difficult conversations with people inside of your network. You have business partners now. Act like it, man. Stop trying to do it on your own. That's something that I did when I first got started, and it killed me because I wasn't leveraging people that had results. I wasn't leveraging people that had already been through it. But going back to that a little analogy, and this is actually where I'm going to wrap up in the next 5 minutes, and I'm going to pass this over to Josh to let him share his part, is this, man. When you're on that road, right? You guys took the dirt road. You guys are all on this dirt road with me right now. Some of you guys are 1 to 2 feet into the dirt road. You can look back behind you and give the dude a high five on the main road that's going back on the little sunset drag to go get a job and do a normal life, right? And so here's the thing. It's going to be loudest. The chirping is going to be a lot louder when you're that close. But then you're going to come across a point where you have a little bit of a mud puddle in front of you. And that's where your mom and dad tell you you shouldn't do it, and it's a pyramid scheme. That's the first barrier. Maybe it's your best friend. Maybe it's your significant other that doesn't support it. It's your choice to let that block you from taking the next step, or you decide, okay, I'm going to step through this little mud because it's not going to kill me. And I'm going to keep going because I think there's something over here. And then you get through that first part of fog, you go through that first little barrier, and now all of a sudden the chirping gets a little less quiet. You've already been through a little bit. And then you come up to a point where you see a little bit of a mountain and you're like, oh shit, I don't know if I can make it up this one. But you see somebody at the top of that mountain. Maybe it's somebody like, for example, Cade, who is in his early 20s, already hit 10K affiliate, and he's sitting up there with a little megaphone saying, hey, bro, come with me. Trust me, I can see down the other side. You got to see this shit. And so you're sitting there like, damn, do I want to go up this? Is it worth it? I don't even know who this dude is, but he seems more excited than these guys do back on this main road. Now you have a decision. Do you keep going or do you go back? A lot of you guys are in your first 30, 60, 90 days. This is that point for you. You've probably gotten a little bit of the backlash already. You've had a few people that you thought would get started tell you they don't want to do it, which is discouraging. You had a lot of people tell you no when you invited 38 people to your first launch call like I did. I got 0 yeses my first night. Most people quit there, man. But I followed up and I stayed going and I walked through that first mud puddle. And then I saw people like AJ and I saw people like Josh and Jay from afar through social media that I had seen from afar that had told me how much they loved this. And it wasn't even about money, but I just saw how passionate they were about what they did. And I was like, I think I am too. So I went up that first little mountain and then I got up there and I saw down and I was like, oh crap, there's a big world over here and I can see a lot more. But then you go down the hill just to realize you got to go up a bigger one. And that's where you get started and you have 50, 60 people you enroll, you hit the level of 5K affiliate. And for me, I did that in my first 45 days in this industry. And then I lost 30 people in 2 weeks. And it's like, damn, back to square one. Okay, what do I do now? I'm at the bottom. I just went down this little hill. So I either got to go back this way now, which is equal to you guys telling all your friends you're going to prove them wrong and then quitting and go back to do what you're doing. That's the equal to. So it's you going back up that mountain, going back through the mud puddle just to go back on the main road and go back the normal way. Or you can look at this bigger mountain and say, damn, I got to rebuild this. I got to go again. And so you decide. And for me, I decided I'm going to keep going. And I got up to the next one. And that's where I saw somebody else. I don't know who, for example, but I'm sitting there and I'm standing next to him and I'm like, we made it here, bro. For me, that was making a few $1,000s a month. I'm like, hey, this works, man. Like, look, guys, I'm making a little bit of money. And this is me sitting there with the megaphone screaming back at the main road, hoping they can hear me through the fog miles down there. And some of them still never listened. And so I'm like, all right, man, well, I'm going to keep going. But every single level comes with a new devil. And a lot of you guys need to understand your climb in this industry isn't like this. It's not a straight uphill climb. You're going to be faced with a lot of stuff, a lot of scrutiny, a lot of controversy. And more importantly, you are doing an unspecified amount of work for an unspecified amount of time just to get an unspecified result. But that's why you have to remember where you're going so you don't get caught up in where you are. That's why we talk about instilling a solid belief system. That's why we talk about surrounding yourself with people who are already there. That's why we tell you to watch an hour of personal development on podcasts and audios and follow people that have already done it. So you can trick yourself into being delusional and crazy enough to actually make it happen. And so here I am, and I'm a couple $1,000s a month into my journey. But now I'm at a point 5 months in where I've ran out of money. And now I'm swiping credit cards to make it work. And now I'm having a bunch of people still talking crazy to me. And I'm sitting here in this little head game where I'm like, oh shit, I'm in trouble. I either got to figure something out or I got to keep going. And so that next mountain for me was saying to myself, I'm not quitting until I burn the boats or until someone takes me out. And so for me, that was me coming up with the point where I was like, all right, man, I'm not getting a job. I'm keeping this thing going full time. I don't care what I got to do. For me, that was driving from 5, 6 in the morning to 9 or 10 in the morning every single day, Uber, just to make a couple extra $100. And then on Saturday, Friday, Sunday, driving at 10 to 2 in the morning, driving all of my friends who were drinking and having fun around in an Uber. One, because it was an income producing activity. You got in the back of my car and I knew I could talk to you. But I was like, I'm not doing anything that's taking my mind off of my business. Not. And so I kept going and I kept going and I kept going. And I got to a year and a half and I had a mentor tell me that it's an 18-month journey, a pure obsession before you can say it doesn't work. And that person made $30 million before he was 30. So I gave it 16 months. Here we are, August of 2024. I've burned the boats. I've done everything I can do. I've outperformed and outworked everybody in the company, in the country that I was working within. And I'm sitting there like, what the hell do I do now? And I'm sitting at the big end of the next valley, right? And all I see is people like Joey sitting up at the top of this mega mountain up here, and I could barely even hear him. But I know he's up there, and I don't know what that other side looks like. All I know is it's going to be a hell of a climb to walk all the way back to the start line just to go back to my normal life. And so for me, that was when I got started in Akashics, and everything changed. And here we are today, and I successfully made it up to another one of those little hills, and I'm earning full-time income, more money than I've ever made in my life, and life is good. But that's just an example of what it takes to get this off the ground. That's the hardest part. And so for those of you guys that are just getting started and you don't have credibility with people because you've never done anything like this, and you're young, so you've never started a business or led people, and maybe you don't have much of a network and you've never used social media, and so you don't have a personal brand, and you've never done sales, so you're not used to talking to people, selling people, it's going to take you time. And you're going to have to go through a lot of those mud puddles. You're going to have to see through a lot of fog. You're going to have to be very delusional to thinking that this is ever going to be something that can give you the life you want. But here's the true thing. It can. It absolutely can. And I've only been doing this for a year and 11 months, and I would rather do nothing else. There's nothing else that I would rather do in my entire life, and that's why I will continue to do this. And so what I wanted to do with my first 30 minutes, and this is where I'll stop, is give you guys a little bit of a glimpse of, number one, some authenticity and some realism in terms of what you guys are going to expect if you want to do this at a high level. So go out there, cause controversy, build your influence by allowing the criticism, man. Me and Andrew on this call, he lives on the other side of this wall from me. He was getting the same thing as me. We were eating tuna fish and rice, both driving Uber and DoorDash to make a couple $100 a month, still swiping credit cards just to pay our bills. And we're going on walks at 1, 2 in the morning while our friends are out partying their asses off. And we're literally joking and laughing about how stupid they are because we have now become so delusional that we're going to make this shit work. And the crazy thing is, it was lonely for a while, man. And I didn't know 100% all the time if it was going to work. And I heard something from, who was it that said this one? Andy Frisella. If you guys don't know that name, write that name down. Big in the entrepreneurship space. Started First Form. Some of you guys know that supplement nutrition company. He said in entrepreneurship, if you do it full time and you do it at a high level, 96% of the time you're going to eat shit. It's not going to work. You're sitting there getting laughed at, and every day sucks. 2% of the time you're wondering, is it ever going to work? And 2% of the time you win. And if you're like me, you hold on to those wins and you stack them day after day. And one thing I want you guys to understand before I pass this over to Josh is a win doesn't mean signing someone up or making money. A win is up here more than anything else. And that's why I encourage you guys to get out there and do things that give you confidence in ways that a monetary value isn't attached, because you are not guaranteed money here. And it's going to take you time because you have to become the person worthy of earning the income. And if you just got started, and like I said before, you don't have credibility, don't have a brand, never sold before, etc., it's going to take you time to become the person that can earn the money. And the further you go in terms of that personal development ladder, the more money you can earn. But for me, it was running on the weekends when my friends were out partying because I knew I was getting better while they were doing that. And it was waking up that next morning on a Saturday after Friday night. I went for a run at 8, 9 p.m. They're pre-game in my apartment. I'm with headphones on, walking out of my apartment. I'm waking up the next morning at 6 in the morning, going into the gym, taking a story, putting it on my Instagram just so they can see it. And by the time they woke up, I've already been in and out of the gym. That was a win up here. And I held on to those day after day after day after day after day. And I still do that to this day. And that's why I'm sitting here in front of you guys. But you have to find a way to trick yourself into being inside of this mode where nothing anybody says outside of you and what you're trying to do matters. And that's what's called tunnel vision. And I encourage you guys to find that for yourself tonight. I know some of you guys are here just to make a little bit of money. Some of you are here just to trade. So maybe some of this wasn't all that, relatable to you. But for those of you that think big and you really want to do this at a high level, I wanted to give that one to you guys. Hopefully it gives you guys some spirit and some fire to go out there and to build something special for yourself and help a lot of people in the process, because there's a lot of people on this call that can go out there and do the same exact thing that I did when you first get started. Serve as an example, let everybody hear it every day, tune out the noise and level up. And then best part is when you prove everybody wrong and now they're looking back at your Instagram and you've been to 9 countries and you got a lot of cool stuff going on and they're still sitting there clocking into their job. That can happen for you too, man. So that's where I'm going to close it off. The next person you guys are going to get to hear from doesn't really need an introduction. We've been doing these mentorship calls for a while. A lot of you guys on this call are already a part of his organization. And it's been a blessing for me to be able to work alongside him, because for the first year and a half, I actually had to block him for the first year and a half. And so I'll keep that as a different story. It's funny as hell. But nonetheless, it's really cool to be partnered with Josh and Jay, of course. And it's been a really, really cool process, man. Getting to know these guys, very similar in age, have a lot of the same interests, and they're both hustlers, man. And Josh is going to be the one breaking down some sauce for you guys in this next 25, 30 minutes. And I know he's going to give you nothing but fire and value to add to what I've already said, and hopefully be able to give you guys more of a spark. And so this dude has impacted people at an international level for years, over half a decade now inside of this space, and has built massive organizations, has helped a lot of people, has made a solid amount of income. And he is someone that if you gravitate towards, you latch onto, and you apply yourself to, he can be that person for you that I was referencing, that you actually consider the source of, and you follow and you buy in and you do what he does and you say what he says, and you can have what he has. So Josh, I'm gonna pass this thing over to you, bro. Appreciate you. And I'm sure you guys will get value out of this next part. Let's go.
Yo, I appreciate that, man. Dude, guys, drop some ones in the chat for Noah. That was absolutely insane, man. He texted me right before the call. He's like, dude, I'm just going to freestyle this. I'm just going to spit some stuff. And I was like, blown away what I just heard on this call. Absolutely wonderful. I bet you guys are happy you hopped on to hear that, right? I know I am. That was really cool. But yeah, I think that's funny, guys. Noah did have me and Jay blocked for a year and a half, and it's because we were in competing companies at the time. And I'm just glad the universe brought us together, though, and we get to
It
work.
wasn't my decision. I'll tell you all that.
Oh, okay. No worries, no worries. But I'm just glad the universe brought us together. You know what I mean? But Noah, that was a phenomenal call, man. I appreciate you so much. I know every single person on this call appreciates your nightly presentations that you do. I know what that's like every single night, night after night after night after night. And also all the value you give to the community, man. I know there's a lot of people on this call that haven't like heard from you potentially on this team. So I appreciate you a ton, man. But guys, we're gonna go ahead and dive into it. I'll introduce myself in a sec, but just keep in mind, coming up here in an hour and 20 minutes, we have a tap the trade presentation for as many guests that you guys can pack out on this call as possible. Okay, it's coming up in an hour and 20 minutes. Right now, there's well over 100 guests that are registered for this call. Okay, so if you have some people that are on the fence, guys, it's taptotrade.biz. That's the link for them to get registered. Tap2trade.biz. Okay, but let's get into it. If you are, obviously new on this call or you don't know who I am, my name is Josh Amundson. I'm 27 years old and I got started in this business. I believe I was 20 or 21, man. It's like right in between there. But, I got started right in my last semester of college. I already had, 2 to 3 years of trading experience. I've been trading for about 9 years, but, I've been doing this business now full time for almost 7 years. Okay. And so a lot of the stuff Noah was talking about on this call, man, it's like he just painted a vision. You know what I mean? He literally painted a vision. I remember, leaving the main road, going up the first little mountain, and then finally getting past it, coming down and seeing another one. And I'm like, oh my gosh. That was cool, man. I really like that analogy. But 6 years into the game, full time, I just wanted to get on this call, guys, and kind of break down a little bit about some of the ideas and philosophies and I guess practices that help me. Okay. So one thing I like to say before I get into these calls though is make sure you have a notebook out. Okay. These calls are literally pointless if you don't have a notebook out. Okay. Yes, you can hop on, get fired up, right? I think it's AJ and Warner, Matt Warner. They used to call the people that would get on the calls and they would just like listen and get fired up, but take no notes. They call them cookie munchers. Like, this call's so good. I'm getting fired up, right? You need to take notes. Okay. Because you will forget 95% of what it is that you learn on this call if you don't write it down. There's something about putting pen to paper. Okay. It locks it into your head. This is different than school. I hated taking notes in school, right? Note takers are money makers. All right. I'm going to be sharing things with you to help you grow your business. You know what I mean? So definitely try to take notes, guys. One of the first, ideas and quotes that I heard is this. Okay. Some of the people that you're spending 10 hours with, you need to be spending 10 minutes with. And some of the people that you're spending 10 minutes with, you need to start spending 10 hours with them. Okay. Your environment is everything, right? I realized I was hanging out with a bunch of friends that were going nowhere in life, most of them, right? Some of them are successful. I'm not going to sit here and say none of them are, but I was hanging out with them too much. I was spending too much time with people that didn't have the same goals as, me and my business partner Jay, who are on this call when we first got started. There's a quote that I heard as well. And you guys can write this one down if you want. But, obviously, guys, we trade and invest and, we're super passionate about it, but we also build a business here, right? Because it pays you guaranteed income. Well, there's this quote that me and Jay heard, and it's, if I can't build with you, I can't chill with you. Okay, it kind of relates to the first quote, right? If I can't build with you, I can't chill with you, right? You got to hang out with people in this business. You got to hang out with people that have the same goals. Hang out with people that are going in the same direction as you, climbing up the mountain side by side, right? And so those are really, really important. Oftentimes, when you're brand new in this business, I know I did this. I started talking about super high goals, right? Super high goals. I was like, dude, I'm gonna go after $100,000 a month. At the time, I was making 150 bucks a month, right? I'm gonna go after $100,000 a month. I'm gonna, retire my parents. I'm gonna travel the world. I'm gonna be able to do X, Y, Z, right? And I started telling my family members about these goals. Right? I found this opportunity. I was so excited. Why would I not share this with them? I'm telling them how much money I'm planning on making, what I'm planning on doing. I'm going to retire them, right? And what I would get from my friends and my family when I would tell them about these goals is a bunch of smirks and laughs, right? There was a couple people that are like, hey, I believe in you, like, go make it happen. But most of them were smirking and laughing, right? And at the time, I remember it wasn't really a reality, yet, but I remember their reactions. And it started to plant negative seeds of doubt in my head, right? You guys ever told your family members about your goals in this business and their reaction, just like the way they looked, the way they sounded, it started planting negative seeds in your head? That's what happened to me, right? So what I realized that I had to do is I had to stop talking about it to those people, right? I had to stop talking about it to people that were giving me those type of reactions. Okay? I want you to write this down. You could write I or you, but I only talked about it to the team, the person in the mirror, and into existence. Okay. You only talk about it to the team because we all have the same goals. We all want to win. We all want to get rich and be able to not have to work and retire our family, help everyone out, right? You want to talk about it to the person in the mirror, you, right? You got to convince yourself that you're actually going to do these things. And lastly, you got to talk about it into existence. Okay. That's it. That's it. Right. One of the worst things you could do is run around telling your family and your friends that, oh, I'm going to make this much money. I'm going to accomplish this. And then all of a sudden you quit and you have to go back to them and say, hey, mom and dad, sorry, I can't retire you anymore because I quit. Right. I'm going back to a job. If you have kids, right, and you're telling them, oh, we're going to go to Disney World, we're going to go on all these trips, you're talking to your kids like life's about to be real different, Jimmy, right? Or whatever. And then you have to tell your kids, hey, dad or mom quit, so we can't go on these trips anymore. Life's not going to get different. Okay. That's why it's important to just talk to the team about it, talk to the person in the mirror about it, and speak it into existence. Okay. If you're going to talk about it, you better have the courage to walk it like you talk it. That's all I'm saying. That's what I learned at a really, really young age in this business. 21 years old, I was on fire. Me and Jay were telling everyone what we're going to do. I had to learn to be about it. right? Because I wasn't about it when I got started. Guys, my first 6 months of this business, I built a team to like 30 people just off pure grit, right? But we were not taking this serious, but we were still talking about the high goals of people. We had to have a flip of a switch, right? And actually take action on our goals. That was the reality of it, okay? The easy part is talking about it to your loved ones and everything, but the hard part is telling them that you quit and you gave up, okay? So what I want to do on this call, ladies and gentlemen, is I want to go over a couple things that have to do with building this business, okay? I want to talk about, some things that I wish I would have known when I first got started. One of the quotes I actually heard was, you don't know what you need to know until you know it. And then once you know it, you're like, I wish I would have known that. Right? You find out one thing and you're like, oh my God, if I knew that, I would be so much further ahead. I would have such a large organization. I would have such a big trading account, right? But guys, the universe lines everything up and gives you information when you need it most. Okay. And so you don't know what you need to know until you know it. All right. So one of the first things I want to talk about is as you're going out there and actually building this business, okay? One of the really important things is learning how to get your prospects, people that you're talking to about this business, right? Getting them to make a decision, okay? Get them to make a decision. All right. So hopefully you guys are taking notes because I'm going to go through some important stuff. All right. You can waste an enormous amount of time with the same prospects. Me and Jay, when we first got started in this business, we're sitting there in college. It's our last semester. We thought we'd be sneaky. We posted like a black photo on our story, and we said, "Send me your email if you want to make money trading with us." Nobody cares about their email, right? So all of a sudden, we check our phone an hour later. Boom, 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 boom. We have all these people sending us their email. We didn't have a big following on social media at all. We didn't have a ton of Snapchat friends at all. Nothing like that. It was just the people that we already knew, right? And me and him sat there and collected a big list of emails, right? But what did we do with these emails? We actually didn't do anything with them. That was our list. We're like, these people are secretly interested and want to make money online, right? So me and Jay, those 200 plus people, we spent like 6+ months with the same list, just hammering them and hammering them and hammering them, right? Hunting these people down to get them inside the business. Granted, people did join, but not a lot of them. Not a lot, right? The ones who did join, they enjoyed it, but they don't have enough here to do anything successful in life. So a lot of them dropped out and quit. Okay. And so just understand you can waste an enormous amount of time with the same prospects. All right. Someone put in the chat, it's an obvious answer. How many people are there in the world? Okay. Someone drop in the chat. I know someone wants to put it in there. 8B, right? 8 billion people. Okay. Don't waste your time on the same prospects. Hence why I'm going to talk about how to get them to make a decision. Okay. So number one, I want you guys to write this down. Number one, here's a philosophy of mine. Okay. I am looking for decision makers. All right. I want you to write that down. I am looking for decision makers, people who can make decisions, right? That's number one, a philosophy. Okay. Decision makers are people who become successful in life. Okay. Decision makers are people who become successful in life because they're able to decide and take action. Okay. If somebody can't make a decision after seeing the presentation, at longest, a day or two after, they're more than likely not the leader that you're looking for. Okay. If they can't make a decision within a day or two of seeing the presentation, they're most likely not the person that you're looking for in your business. Granted, guys, listen, when I first saw the business, I said no. I literally said no. It was my guy Kessler. He might be on this call right now. I said no to him. I got off, went to Jay's house. We were in college, and I told him I got off this call, and Jay's like, dude, I'm a part of that. And I go, what? I was like, no way. And we got started. 6, 7 years later, it's the best decision I ever made in my life. Okay. So just understand that you want to stop having an emotional connection to people making decisions. Okay. And trying to get everyone into your business or opportunity. Okay. You don't want an emotional connection to people joining or leaving. You don't need to get everyone in your business, right? That's really, really important to understand. There's millions of people out there, okay, that would love to join. Millions of people that would love to join your team, okay? Your team on this call. There's millions of people out there, right? There's no shortage of prospects. There's no and end to the list, right? There's millions of people out there. You just have to go talk to them. That's just the reality of it, right? You just have to go talk to them, okay? I want you guys to write this down. One of the most important things I heard when I first got started: abundance mentality, and then write the greater sign, scarcity mentality. Okay. You want to have an abundance mentality over a scarcity mentality. Scarcity mentality is I'm running out of prospects. Everyone's saying no. People are quitting my team. People aren't joining. My trading account isn't growing. I'm not winning trades. I lost the rank I had last month. A leader just quit, right? Those are all scarcity mentality. Guess what happens when you have that mindset? You attract more of it. Okay. You need to adopt the abundance mentality. There's unlimited people. So many people are joining my team right now. There's never been this many prospects coming into my life. A lot of leaders are about to launch on my team this month, right? You got to have an abundance mentality. Think up, not down. Okay. That's really, really important. Okay. So here's some tips. Okay. Here's some tips. All right. Here's an example. Let's say you sat down with someone on a one-on-one call or a three-way call, and they're not ready to make a decision. Okay. They're not ready to make a decision yet. All right. You need to raise their belief to a higher level. Okay. How do you do that? Right. You got to get them on, through, you got to show them more exposures to the business, right? Three-way calls, a home presentation, a live trading session. Go sit down with them and show them a trading session, show them how to tap the trade works, bring them to a larger event, right? Bring them to an actual company event. You got to raise their level of belief for them to get to make a decision. But one thing that I want to put down is this: if people are not ready to make a decision, okay, at the end of the call, you need to do something called a BAM FAM. Okay, BAM FAM, BAM FAM. Does anybody know what that is? Put it in the chat real quick. What's a BAM FAM? One of the most important things about this business. Who knows what it is? I'll put the acronym in there. Book a meeting from a meeting. Book a meeting from a meeting. Okay. If somebody doesn't have money, if somebody doesn't have time, if somebody needs to do more research, but they're still interested, right? Considered it a failed call if you don't book a meeting from a meeting. On the call, you need to book another call with them in the future. You need more time to think about it? Awesome. How long do you need? 24 to 48 hours, right? Put it in the calendar, book another call with them. You got to keep the follow-up calls going on from call to call to call, right? The worst thing you can do is if they need more time or they don't have money yet or anything like that, right? Is to just let the call end and be like, all right, just let me know when you're ready. Consider it failed. Okay. Book a meeting from a meeting. Constantly be pushing the needle forward. That's one of the most beautiful things I learned in this business. Okay. Book a meeting from a meeting. Always, right? Really, really important. Okay. Here's an example of that. Okay. Let's say that you have a person that's been to a couple events, a couple presentations, right? I remember, man, I think it was Kate Hansen on this call. I saw this dude come to like 4 to 5 different presentations that I held at the same place, same amount of people, like 4 or 5 weeks in a row. And I was sitting there like, man, this dude's gonna hear this again. I was like, all right. But the reality of it is, guys, if they've seen a couple presentations, if they've seen the information and they understand what it is, right? They have enough information to make an educated and informed decision. Okay. They have enough information to make an informed and educated decision. That's the reality of it. All right. So remember, what we're talking about is how to get your prospects to make a decision. Okay. So at the end of the presentation for this type of person, okay, that's already seen the information multiple times. Guys, we all have them. We all have prospects that they've seen the presentation 922 times. They've, looked at the comp plan 6 times. They've seen 10 tap to trade examples. They've seen the testimonial Telegram group chats, right? Well, at the end of this presentation with this person, okay, you got to let people know, like on the call, by now, you have enough information to make an educated and informed decision. Okay, you have to tell them that. By now, you are educated and informed enough to make a decision. Okay, are you in or are you out? Right? It's really the reality of that, guys. Are you in or are you out? Either way is totally cool, right? If you see it, awesome. I'm super excited. I want to work with you. It's going to be a great year. If not, no worries at all. I appreciate you coming out. Okay. You got to get them to make a decision. Okay. Now keep in mind, you don't want to have hostility. You don't want to have arrogance. You want to always be friendly to prospects, okay? Because the reality is this, you are creating your legacy while you're building your business. You're getting a reputation. Imagine a business reputation, a personal reputation, right? Me and Jay were driving to the gym this morning. I go, dude, imagine if there was Google reviews for people or Trustpilot reviews for people. You're getting internal reviews in people's heads. You're creating your legacy. So don't be hostile. Don't be arrogant, be friendly, right? But you can have pressure. You can have them make a decision, right? And that's okay. If someone sees the business a time or two and the person still keeps saying, I need to see more research, right? I need to, think about it more, right? You want to know what an effective leader does? Write this down. An effective leader does this. Set a deadline. Set a deadline. Okay. Because, like I said, guys, you can waste an enormous amount of time with the same prospects. Set a deadline. Okay. That's what effective leaders do. All right. Now, here's an example of setting a deadline. All right. I'm going to use the name Aaron for an example. Aaron, by now, you've seen enough information to make an educated and informed decision. Okay. I believe that you're able to make an educated, informed decision. All right. Either way, it's totally cool. If you're in or you out, I just would love to work with you. And so here's what we need to do. This is someone that's saying, I need to think about it more. I need to do more research, right? Here's what we need to do though. All right. Let's just set a deadline. How long do you need to think about it? 24 or 48 hours? Give them those two options. Why 24 to 48 hours? The reality is, if you say, how long do you need to think about it? And you leave it as an open-ended question, what are they going to say? Put it in the chat. If you ask someone, how long do you need to think about it? What's the average answer you're probably going to get? Someone pop it in there. Alan goes, I don't know. Days. What else? If you're like, how long do you need to think about it, Mary? How long do you need to think about it, Joe? Right? What are most people going to say? The reality is, guys, most people are going to say a week. Most people are going to say a month. Most people are going to be like, hey, I'll just reach out to you when I'm done thinking about it, right? You need to say, how long do you need to think about it? 24 to 48 hours. An effective leader sets a deadline. Okay. Now, when you give them those two options, they're most likely going to say 48 hours, right? If they say 24 hours, that's actually a good sign, right? Because that shows that they're a decision maker. Hint, hint, we're looking for decision makers, right? So 24 to 48 hours. Okay. Then if they say 48 hours, put the time in the calendar. Be like, awesome. So you need till Thursday. How about 6 p.m.? Does that work for you? Yeah, it does. They tell you, yeah, it does. Are you confident you can be on that call? Yes, I can be on that call. Cool. I put it in the calendar. I'll call you then. Don't talk to them till then unless they reach out to you. Get on the call, get them started, right? It's really, really important, guys. Get on the call, collect a decision, okay? So they're going to tell you on this call either way if they want to do it or not. That's the whole point of this. They're going to say, I'm in or I'm out, right? You want your prospects to make decisions, guys. Have you ever heard this quote? Tell me yes or tell me no, but tell me quick because I got to go. Tell me yes or tell me no, but tell me quick because I got to go. Right? You don't really got to say that to people, but that's the mentality you got to move by, right? You got to get people to make a decision. If they need more time than 48 hours, if they're like, I really need a week, right? Well, the reality is that's most likely a no. And that's okay. That's fine, right? We're trying to go fast. Success loves speed, right? It's a lot easier to build this business fast in momentum with speed and energy than it is to build it casually, than it is to build it slow, right? It's a lot harder to build it slow, okay? And so you're looking for people that know how to make a decision, okay? People who can make a decision are CEO quality type people. You want CEO quality type people inside of your business, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you, you got to also have CEO posture yourself. Okay. They're not going to respect you if you're chasing them and agreeing to every time they have and letting them call the shots and everything. You got to have CEO posture, right? Because guess what? If you didn't already know this, right? You're an independent business owner inside of this business. We all determine how much money we make. We all determine when we work, who we work with, when we want to work, everything. You got to have CEO posture when you're talking to prospects, right? But also, like I said, make sure to not be arrogant and hostile. Be friendly, but have CEO posture. Okay. So that's really, really important. Okay. We're looking for CEOs. We're looking for presidents. We're looking for vice presidents. We're looking for people that can run your company, right? That's the reality of this. Okay. We're not looking for minimum wage work ethic. Okay. I say on every single presentation call, right? If you don't have a work ethic, don't even get started. Okay. I say that on every freaking presentation, right? Because that's the reality of it. Okay. We're trying to find powerful people in this business. Okay. Powerful people, right? If they can't make a decision, they're not powerful, right? I'm sorry if it's your friend and they can't make a decision, they're not powerful, right? If you made a decision pretty quick, you're a powerful person. That's the cool part about it, right? If you call them back after 48 hours and they don't answer, right? Leave a voicemail. If they don't call you back, don't call them back. Okay. It's a no. Don't be a stalker. Move on. Okay. So hopefully that gives you guys a good understanding on how to make your prospects make a decision. Okay. We're trying to move with speed and precision. I'm not saying don't follow up with people, right? I have people that me and Jay went to college with, Jay too. For 6 years, we followed up with them once or twice a year. After 6 years, we travel around the world. Help thousands of people inside this business. We've been doing it full time for 6 years. They finally got started, right? Similar to what Noah was saying. He's going back down to the road. He's bringing them up now, finally, right? And so here's the next part I want to talk about, guys. I'll kind of make this relatively quick, but I want to talk about how to eliminate fear. Okay. I want to talk about how to eliminate fear. Okay. When I got started in this business, right, I was fearful of posting on social media. I was fearful about what people would say. I was fearful about what my family would think. I was fearful about what people, would say to me directly, right? I was fearful about stuff. Okay. But I want to kind of break down some things about it. Okay. Now, one thing I want to talk about is this. All right. When you start, most times you have fear. Okay. Most times you have fear inside this business. Okay. And fear gives you doubt. All right. And you're thinking about, there's so many people you're gonna have to talk to. What are they gonna say? How are they gonna react? Right. Well, the only way to get rid of something that you fear is to do it. That's the only way to get rid of fears. Has anybody ever skydived in this chat? Anybody ever skydive in here? Drop a one in the chat if you've gone skydiving before. Bo's like, buddy, I'm dropping a one in there. Let's go. Let's go. Anybody else skydived in here? Okay. Now, how about this? Bo and Anise, I want you to say just in one word, how was your experience with skydiving? One word to describe it. It could be good, great, awesome, terrifying. Okay, there you go. That's a good one. All right. Now, crazy. Everyone on this call, I want you to drop a two in the chat if you're like, dude, I would never go skydiving. I am terrified of skydiving. I want you to drop a two in the chat. Okay. Like you think people who go skydiving they have a death wish, right? It's probably most people on this call jumping out of an airplane 30,000 feet in the air, however high up, right? Well, I'm sure that Bo and Anise were scared shitless to go skydiving, right? But guess what? The only way to get rid of a fear that you have is to do it. You know what's really, really cool about that? The more you're in action, the less fear there is, right? I'll talk about what's on the other side of fear here in a second. But the reality is, guys, is you got to be okay with fear. Fear is normal. We all feel it. Okay. But the reality is, guys, in my mind, fear of rejection is a lie, right? The fear of rejection in this business is not real. Okay. It's made up. So, number one, I want you to realize the irrationality of fear in this business. Okay. What's really going to happen if someone tells you no? What's really going to happen to you if someone, makes fun of you, right? Nothing. You are physically safe. Okay. That's the reality of it. Okay. So, number two, let's talk about going through with your fear. Okay. Actually going through with it. Okay. So, first of all, it's going to make you stronger. Okay. That's one of the first things. It's going to make you stronger if you do the things that scare you. Okay. They're on every side of every situation. Okay. There's fear. Okay. Right. Challenges, struggles. That's one side of the situation. The other side of the situation is a gift. Okay. The best things in life are on the other side of fear. Okay. So guess what? If you want to go out and hit a six-figure income in this business, if you want to go out and actually, build an empire for you and your family, it's a scary task to go accomplish. But guess what's on the other side of that fear? The gift, right? Doing this full time. owning your life completely. You will never have a boss tell you what you have to do ever again, right? No cap on your income. Travel the world, help thousands of people, build your brand, right? Own your life. That's the gift inside of this business that's really, really cool. Okay. Now, number three, guys, in terms of fear, is I want you to write it down. You don't need people. Okay. You don't need people in this business. All right. It doesn't matter if people say yes or no. You're going to achieve your income goals because you say you will. Okay, you don't need people. I've heard leaders over the years say like, "Oh my gosh, this person quit. My business is ruined. It's done. Like my dreams are out the window now." The reality is you don't need people. Okay, if you're going to go out and hit the 50K rank, the 100K rank super affiliate in this company, and you're going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars a month or a year, right? You're going to get it done because you say you're going to get it done. Okay, you don't need people. That's a fear. That's a scarcity mindset that a lot of leaders have in this business. Joey Wilson, you know what he used to tell me, right? He was a big mentor of mine for a long time. He would look at me dead in the eyes. I had the biggest organization on his team in our first company, right? He would look me dead in the eyes and say, Josh, listen, I'm grateful for you. And I love running with you. You're a huge benefit to this team. I really appreciate you. But if you quit tomorrow, so be it. I'm running still. And I was like, when I first heard that, I was like, what? I was like, holy cow, bro. I was like, I'm literally like massive, part of your team, right? Well, it was a mindset. He was teaching me the lesson that he doesn't need people. Not one person is the reason for anything, right? It's a collective, okay? So you don't need individual people. That's a scarcity mindset. You don't need specific people to join, okay? So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to do is we are going to take the next 55 minutes to hop off this call and absolutely promote for the call in 55 minutes at 9 p.m. Central Time, tap the trade call. Okay. I want you to take the knowledge that Noah gave you on this call, right? The energy that he packed into you guys. I want you to take, how to make people to make it, or how to get people to make a decision. I want you to take the knowledge from this call and channel it into the next 55 minutes to pack out this call. Okay. I know that if I looked at your prospect list, I know that if I sat down next to you, there's people that you've been meaning to hit up. I guarantee it. Because guess what? There's always people that I've been meaning to hit up forever, all 7 years of this business, right? So I'm telling you, take the next 55 minutes, get them on this call, reach out to them, send them a voice message, right? Dude, I got a call that's coming up in 55 minutes. I have some business partners hopping on. We're masterminding and launching something huge. I've been meaning to reach out to you. I got a few open spots on this call. If I sent you the link and the information, can you make it on? Right? You don't have to talk. You don't have to share your video. Just hop on, check it out, give me your opinion. Okay. So guys, started the call in about 50 to 55 minutes. I appreciate everyone for hopping on here, and I will see you guys then. All right. Peace out.